Deion Sanders in Colorado, they won one game last year. They've already tripled that. They are taking on number 10 Oregon this weekend. They are major underdogs. Mike, I'll start with you.
Yes.
I thought Deion to Colorado was intriguing. I didn't see all this stuff coming. I didn't see this buzz. How do you make sense of the phenomenon that primetime has become, and included, by the way, in the highest rated college football game in late game in ESPN's history last week, Colorado and Colorado State. 9.
I mean, crazy. 9 million, 9.3 million. That's right. Late night, 2 o'clock in the morning, the game ends on the East Coast, and people are staying up to watch Colorado and Colorado State. Just let that sink in for a second. Colorado, a team like you mentioned, that won one game last year in Colorado State. I know it's a rivalry, but only in Colorado. Nobody else cares it around the country. This is a team that has been phenomenal. You say you didn't see it coming. Well, Deion told you they were coming, and now they are here. And like you mentioned, this is a culture. This isn't just about college football. I got people hitting me up that don't even know what the Colorado mascot is, but they know Deion is at Colorado. You know what I mean? They are watching Colorado football games. They know who Shedeur Sanders is. They know who Travis Hunter is, and they're watching Colorado football. This reminds me a lot, guys. I know the young ladies are too young to remember, but back in the 80s when Georgetown was a phenomenon, when it was a culture and everybody got behind them, and in the 90s when the Fab Five came out with Chris Webber and Jalen Rose and everybody kind of got behind them, even if you weren't a college basketball fan. Now, even if you're not a college football fan, you are watching Colorado and Colorado football every single week. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do against Oregon this coming weekend.
Well, maybe I'm the only person in America who didn't actually stay up to watch that game because I needed my rest. Let's start there. I came on here and I gave them 2 wins and 2 possibles, literally like I was on here playing spades. And I just still feel like it's still 2 wins plus 2 possible. And he's at 3. And I mean, let's commend the staff that he has with him, because even somebody on his one of his offensive coordinators is being considered for the position over at Michigan State at this point in time. And so that says a lot about who he has as his supporting team and how he's coaching this team. So I want to give him kudos for that. But there was also a little headline that I saw flash across the screen where it said, "Is Colorado, Black America's team?" On one hand, I want to say no as a journalist, but if I'm being real as a person and a sports fan, probably so. And as far as I'm concerned, I think that it just brings more energy to this sport. I feel like in a lot of these conversations that we hear, most of these, somewhat mainstream, mediocre white men, when they're talking about sports, they're not really talking to us or at us. Deion is talking to us, at us, he's including us, and it's one of those things where I'm excited for people who are excited about this. I've seen some people on the sidelines who had never been to a college football game, but they were in Colorado for that game. Why? Because of Deion and this primetime feel. So I think that it's a beautiful thing for the sport as a whole. But I'm not losing sleep to watch them play. I'll catch the highlights.
They are an exciting football team. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You're good. You're good. Go for it.
They are an exciting football team. This is one thing I'll do, to watch Shedeur Sanders and to see Travis Hunter. I know he's going to be out for a while with the lacerated liver, but at the same time, when he comes back, to see somebody go both ways in college football or in the NFL is incredible. We haven't seen that since prime time, doing it at a great level. But this guy, like you mentioned, like you said, maybe 2-3 wins. I think a lot of people saw that. But now that they've won 3, nobody expected them to be 3-0 at the beginning of the season. They still got Arizona. Correct. They got Arizona State. They got Stanford on the schedule. We can win 6, 7, 8 games this season and get to a bowl game, which will be phenomenal. But I really don't think it's about this season. Can you imagine the amount of recruits, the recruiting class that Prime Time is going to be able to bring into Colorado with that campus, with that facility, with all the attention that they're getting next year? If he can get 5-star recruits to go to Jackson State and to follow him to Colorado, guess what's going to happen next year? And guess what kind of contenders they're going to be, not just for the Pac-12, they'll be in the Big 12 next year, but not just in their conference, but around the nation. They're going to be a top 10 team more than likely if Shedeur Sanders stays in school. do at the beginning of next season. So I'm excited about next season and beyond because I don't really feel like Deion's going to be there for 4 years. I really think this is my prediction that sooner or later that Nick Saban is going to retire from Alabama and he's going to slide over there to Tuscaloosa and take over the Alabama Crimson Tide, become the first
Tuscaloosa.
Alabama. Do you hold on a second? Hold on. Did you think Boulder, Colorado was going to be big? Did you think Boulder, Colorado was big? When it comes to college football, what school is bigger than Alabama?
The NFL.
I'm not giving him Alabama though.
Thank you. He's going to the league. I think he's going to the league.
I think even as a college coach at Alabama, he can get just as much notoriety at Alabama in college. You can decide. I think Deion likes teaching kids. Well, I think one thing you guys are missing is that Deion has done the NFL. Now the money's going to be good in Alabama too. You don't think Alabama's going to be able to throw this man $10-15 million a year? Absolutely. So the money's going to be there. The prestige is going to be there. And the notoriety is going to be there at Alabama to be the first black head coach at the University of Alabama. No disrespect, Nick Saban, he's still there as long as he's there. But he can slide right in there and take over and take over that program. But and then go to the NFL and deal with all the egos and the attitudes of some of those players up there who think they're prime time. I pump my brakes just a little bit when it came to the NFL, when it came to Deion.
Yeah. But this is also another situation where go ahead, Liv.
I'm so sorry. As a Colorado resident who has watched this CU team far longer than most of the bandwagon people that have now jumped aboard, can we please just acknowledge the 3 teams that this CU team has beaten so far?
Okay,
I am speaking as a TCU fan, you guys. Listen, I am a Horned Frog alum. I went to the game. This is not the national championship TCU team. They lost their best wide receiver. They lost their quarterback, and they were playing peewee level defense in that game and against the Nicholls State. TCU is not this impressive national championship team that we were talking about last season. Nebraska, same exact thing. Colorado State, listen, Colorado State gave Colorado game, and Vegas had had Colorado favored by 25 points before that game started. I'm telling you, yes, I am so excited about the Coach Prime effect. I will tell you, as a Colorado resident, I have never seen Boulder more black than it is right now, and I love to see it. These are things that you love to see. So I'm going to tell you, I love the Coach Prime effect that we've got going on right now, but I think everybody needs to pump the brakes a little bit on this 3-0 start, because they are facing Utah to wrap their season. They're facing Caleb Williams and USC after they face Oregon on the road. Listen, I'm telling you, there is a little bit of an overreaction here, and I'm going to tell you my biggest concern. Here's my biggest concern. No, I don't want to say that, but what I'm going to tell you is here's my biggest concern. We had Lil Wayne opening that game. We had Rock on the Rock on the sidelines. We had Kawhi Leonard. We had all these relevant people. But let me tell you something. 8-time Pro Bowler, 9-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl championship, played for 14 NFL seasons, played in the MLB. They are there for prime. So what I worry about is that you've got players like Shador who are doing Rolexes at the camera. And guess what? That's all good and fun. But when you lose your first game, that becomes a laughable meme now. So what I need for this Colorado team, when you are a Travis Hunter, I'm going to tell you right now, Travis Hunter is the most likable guy in college football. For him to go on a live stream in a giraffe pajamas and say, it's football, the hit happened, to be the humble king that he is. My worry right now is Shador Sanders. I am a very large fan of his game. He showed composure in the last 90 seconds of that game, and he showed that he can play on the professional level. Now, here's what I worry about. Those people, Lil Wayne, The Rock, Kawhi Leonard, all these relevant people, they are not there for you. They are there for your dad. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but when we look at what Deion Sanders has done in his career, he has earned the right to be flashy, to be loud, to be obnoxious. We've seen Shador Sanders play 3 excellent games of football against who? So I'm saying, all I'm saying is, let's pump the brakes and dial it back a little bit.
I understand, but how do we know who's good in college football right now? That's one thing I hate about the early season, preseason rankings. You don't know who's good right now, right? You didn't know.
But
TCU
we're treating Colorado like they're God sent.
But no one expected them to even be 2-1, let alone 3-0. In fact, no, they're going to get run off the field, I believe, against Oregon and Bo Nix. I think Caleb Williams is going to come in there and put on the show because nobody's talking about Caleb Williams and Bo Nix. But I've given you 3 teams. Washington is not, I'm sorry, Oregon State's not, I'm sorry, I'm going back. Arizona State, Arizona, and Stanford. I got 3 teams in the Pac-12 right there that they can win, and I really believe that they can knock off the UCLA teams too if you look at the schedule. So I said 7 or 8 wins this season for this Colorado team, and then next year is when the team really makes that turnaround and becomes a national title contender.
But
I hear you. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Dawn.
I was just going to mention, even if they win those 3 that you mentioned, they can still probably win one or 2 extra and be bowl eligible. And if they're bowl eligible at any cost, because there's literally like 300 bowl games, then what we're going to see then is how they blow up this particular bowl game that they get invited to and that they win at. And then it's like all bets are off. The gates are wide open. And then we can have these various conversations about how they may be there for the team. They may be there for Colorado. They may be there for whoever is in the stands or what have you. But at this point, literally, I've been telling people, you have to be, both things are very true and valid. You have to be mindful of this narrative that everybody is jumping on the bandwagon and carrying along when the only person that's in the driver's seat is Prime right now.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what.
When it comes to Deion Sanders doing this, first of all, who's his daddy? You know, that's in his DNA. That's in his DNA. We saw his daddy do that his entire career.
You know what? And that's fair. That's fair. But how many phenomenal college athletes have we seen that flop on the highest level of football? He is great. Yes. Right now he is great, but I don't want to see him every time they do this, every time they talk trash, every time they whatever, the target on their back gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Sure.
And so my fear is I don't want them to get lost in the noise. That's all. I don't want them to get lost in the noise.
They're playing our music. It's the Apollo. So if we don't get off the stage, they gonna give us. We gonna get the hook. But I tell you what, look, hey, this is great. Good to see you, Mike, Dawn. Hey, if nobody else,
I love y'all.
There's no other name. There's no other name in college football that you're looking at, though. There's no other individual in college football that you're shouting out like you do Deion and Shador.
That's right.
And Travis Hunter. Like they are the collective, and they got the individuals. We talking about them more than we talking about the Heisman Trophy, likely Heisman Trophy winner again. It's amazing. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.